5, 4, 3, 2. Distraction 1.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Katt Gurl Film Podcast. Today we're covering
An Adventure in Space and Time and Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, my hat.
Welcome back, everybody.
My bald spot.
Oh my god. Bald!
Bald! Bald! Bald!
Maybe one day we'll talk about that movie. Maybe.
Oh, almost certainly.
Well,
At least the first one.
we'll see about that. Anyway, yes, we were talking about An Adventure in Space and Time and
Yes.
Cabin in the Woods. We started with my first last time. We shall start with the Bryce.
Yes.
An Adventure in Space and Time is a British movie about an adventure in space and time.
I mean, it's not.
The title says otherwise.
But,
Okay.
notably, this is our first made-for-TV movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's very rare for made-for-TV movies to make a top 50. It's very rare.
I mean, I don't have one as far as I can think of.
This might be my only one.
So, Bryce,
Yes.
do you watch Doctor Who?
Yes. Well, not... I've watched Doctor Who. So... I don't watch the current era. That has to be specified. Growing up, I was raised off of the original classic run, which ran from
60s to the 80s.
63 to 87, I believe. I believe was the time period.
I'm still working on my part. It's been a long, long time.
Yeah. So this ran from William Hartnell to Sylvester McCoy.
Yes.
Not including the American Weird movie that occasionally is lumped in with it.
It's still part of the canon. But,
Yeah, it's still part of the canon. Which, Paul McGann's good in his own right, but anyways.
But the movie is not what makes him a decent Doctor Who protagonist.
Yeah, no.
His other media... But look, sidetrack. An Adventure in Space and Time. What this movie is about Doctor Who, but it's not a Doctor Who story.
No.
It's a historical telling about Doctor Who.
This is following the creation and release of the first 3 seasons of Doctor Who.
Yes. Which would be the entirety of the run of one William Hartnell.
Yes.
The original, you might say.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm so happy I can make these references and get them. So, before we... Oh,
let's talk about some historical context.
Okay, so, early 1960s, the BBC.
So, in case you don't know, the BBC, the British Broadcasting Channel...
That could have been there could not have been a worse acronym for your television station, at least today, with the name BBC. But I digress.
The BBC is a government-funded channel, a free access channel that is funded by the
UK government.
UK government, paid for by...
British taxpayers.
Not so much. Because what happens is that there is a thing... I'm getting a little bit into this. It is paid for by people who buy license to broadcast video media in their house.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Because you need a license to broadcast video media in the UK.
Yeah.
It's not heavily reinforced. But it's like a few bucks a month.
Yes.
And then you can have videos go on in your... And for doing so, you get BBC free in your house. And there's different levels. By the way, weird thing, there's a different license for broadcasting black and white and in color.
The more you know.
If you have the color on, it counts black and white because black and white is part of color. But if you only have the black and white, you can't show videos in your house in color.
Anyway.
But yes, the BBC, it is because it is the government-funded channel, the one that everyone has access to functionally, because everyone wants to show videos in their house. It is a major institution of England, but the UK in general. But particularly, it's very important around the zeitgeist of England.
Yes.
Because that's where a lot of its stuff is made. It is made in London.
Yeah.
So, this is following around some of the earlier days of the BBC. In which case, the BBC, because it was a government-funded thing, functioned a lot more as, like, PBS, as it is in America.
Mm-hmm.
Where there's no ads, there's no, like, breaks and that kind of thing. Well, there, at a certain point, I'm sure there was, but, like, for a decent amount of it, there was, like, no ads, but they had it under the understanding that it was supposed to be an educational tool.
Yes.
That's where they broadcast, like, the news ads. And I think, like, they also would throw things like cricket matches on there and stuff like that.
Good God, cricket.
They also probably showed rugby, I'm sure, but,
Well, rugby is better than cricket any day of the week.
Really?
I promise you, rugby is intense, but my God, look.
So I've seen both rugby and cricket before.
Okay, we both know what it is then.
Yeah. I'm not particularly thrilled by either.
Makes sense.
However, I do have a general interest in cricket.
It's very much like baseball.
It is like baseball.
Yes.
I do acknowledge it is like baseball.
I like baseball, but I could never get into cricket.
Yeah, I can understand that. However, I do feel like there is a different general interest around... We're so off topic.
Back to BBC!
Yes.
Anyway, look.
BBC broadcasted a lot of very important things. But they did have some fictional broadcasts, predominantly around educational purposes, though.
Yes.
And a lot of this was basically just to get kids' interests.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, at the end of the day, ran like a TV show. They cared heavily about viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Because, in the end of the day, if they couldn't provide a good package, there was two things. Number one, you were probably going to get fired from your job.
Yep.
Because you're being incompetent. And number two, if you can make the package good, that can convince more people to put TVs in their household. Because the baseline package, the default package, is good. So, that's like the important thing to understand. It's operated a bit differently, so it's important to understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the 1960s, about 62, 63, around that time, they decided to okay a show called Doctor Who. You know about it nowadays, but at the time, it was a very low-budget, low-stakes educational TV show.
Yes.
It has changed drastically since then.
My God, has it changed drastically.
And this movie is following the sudden explosion of Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
And what it meant to the people involved. Because Doctor Who, by its very nature, was a weird make.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to get into the actual history behind this a little bit. Because I knew the history about it and then I watched the movie. So, because I cared very deeply.
This is going to be a part of the writing section. Is going to be
Yes.
adapting the history into the movie itself. So,
Yeah.
just prefacing in that.
So, just a heads up, I will be talking a lot about the history of this because I cared very deeply about the original run, and then they made a movie about it. So,
Yep. All right, bring it on.
So, we are following the person of Verity Lambert, who is the first ever female producer at the BBC. Which is correct, that is true. And her struggles to actually produce the show.
Yes.
Because a thing that should be known about her, she was not known for being an agreeable person. Which they do in the movie a little bit. They do sugar her a little bit, but not extremely. She was known for being a rough and tumble F you kind of person.
I think it makes sense, though, when you understand... Like, the movie kind of explores, like, the whole gender dynamics and everything. She's the first woman lead producer on a television show for the BBC. So it's like, oh, she's going to have a chip on her shoulder and all this fun stuff. And she has her own ideas. And everybody's telling her, no, you're not experienced and all this stuff. And it's just really making her be like, just believe in my idea, my vision.
Yeah.
Just believe
She was someone who did not like the old guard, which the movie plays a little bit into. She was someone who was very much, I play by my own books, and so much of her career had been slowed down by, like, the old fogies that have been in the thing since the very beginning of the BBC. That she was like, I do not want to listen to these fogies, I want to do it my way. The movie does sugar it a little bit, and they don't focus on it fully to the degree that I feel like it was in real life, but they do focus on it. Like, it is a pretty big part of the movie for, like, the first third, I would say. But I would say that she is the main focus of the movie for the first half.
Yes.
Because then we swap over to the character of William Hartnell.
Yes.
For the second half, which I feel is a good transitionary thing. And I am so glad with the treatment they did for William Hartnell.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was so easy. So there's two things that BBC has treated William Hartnell with, which is very unfortunate. There's two things that they've done, one of which I really don't like and one I do. Because one of the focuses is not focusing on his life as much, just trying to portray him as an old person who was a product of his time. Because even at his time, he was old. He was in his late 50s by the time the show started being produced. So he's a pretty old man. He looked a lot older than he was. He was not a man who kept good care of himself.
Well, yeah, I mean, it did show how much he liked to smoke, so...
Yeah.
Definitely...
Everyone in this movie is smoking constantly, which I'm glad they did. They didn't Disneyfy it by being like, no one's smoking. But... the character of William Hartnell, the person in real life, he was someone who was heavily typecasted. The BBC was someone that worked with like a small amount of like classical actors that were coming in off of stages, and they were like, we want you to be in these like educational programs. And because of that, they often hired people for a little bit cheesiness and a little bit like typecasting. I shouldn't say a little bit, extreme typecasting. They did not produce classical literature unless it was literally a camera pointed at a stage. Like, that's how, like, that's their level. Like, we're not going to produce an original Shakespeare movie. We're just going to have them produce Shakespeare and point a camera at a stage. Because that's way cheaper than actually making the movie.
Sure.
So, like, that's the only real time they got exposure, unless they were willing to do these kind of, like, variety, like, fill-in positions. William Hartnell was one of those. He was, in all intents and purposes, a pretty, like, hard A man. Most people did not see him as very agreeable. A lot of people just didn't like being around him. Like, that's a thing that gets portrayed. Hence the two betrayals we see with William Hartnell. Number one is how the movie betrays him, which we'll get into, and number two is how other media produces him, also by the BBC. One of the big examples was a Doctor Who episode called Once in Time, where they bring William Hartnell back, and they portray him as this old, fogey, racist grandpa. Which is not who William Hartnell was. And I argue is extremely disrespectful to him. Mm-hmm. Instead, this was a man who just didn't like dealing with people. He was a bit of a loner.
Yeah.
That, in the end of the day, didn't really care for how his acting career had gone. Until he had been given Doctor Who. Which was a role that he made his own. He made his own so much that the show had completely changed underneath of him.
Yep.
And there's a reason why he's so critical to why the show is still going on to nowadays. It is such a long run to go.
Yeah, like literally without Hartnell, there would be no Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Even though I would say his successor probably deserves more of that credit.
Yeah, Patrick Troughton set the foundation for how the character acts.
Yes. At least like a large amount of the mannerisms and motifs of Doctor Who definitely come from Troughton's interpretation of the second Doctor.
While how the show operates, I feel is a lot more Hartnell.
Yeah, I agree.
So, it's very important for that transitional state for Hartnell to exist. And it was because of the stuff he was going through during that time period. Mm-hmm. So now we can actually get into that. I wanted to tackle that thing very quickly. Because there's two betrayals of William Hartnell that go around. And one is unfavorable and just kind of like uses him as a throwaway gag. Mm-hmm. Which I feel is not fair. Yeah. And not actually a correct representation of him. And then there's this movie, which is like, this is actually William Hartnell. Like, I believe it.
Yep. All around, I thought, well, I guess, with that in mind, and my thoughts and everything with the writing, I thought everything was very well interesting. Like, it kept my attention, and I was, like, very invested in this. And I was just, like, thinking, fascinating.
Yeah.
At least, like, I'm not too sure how accurate everything is on the.
There are some
they're portraying.
inaccuracies. I can go into some of them if you want. But for the most part, this movie's very accurate.
I would say maybe not, because like as long as it ain't disrupting the narrative and whatnot that they're trying to go for, I'm perfectly fine with some inaccuracies. One of the things that I did find fun though was actually seeing Hartnell's character development from being a hardened old man to being very happy and excited, especially when people in public recognize him.
Yeah.
But then when he's told that as his health got worse, he had to quit being the doctor.
Yep.
And how much that destroyed him.
Yep.
And literally that ending scene where he was
Which is an exact quote from him.
Yep. I just felt my heart being ripped in half seeing him saying, I don't want to go.
Yep.
I was just like, jeez. And part of me was thinking, I really hope that was true. Like, I do know, at least for sure, like, yeah, he didn't want to leave.
Yep.
So I was just like, dang.
He tried everything in his power to not leave.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in his power. He loves working on the show. And by the time he was basically forced out, they, like, showed him a couple people, and it's like, Patrick Troughton will take over for me.
Yeah. I guess that's a good segue for us to go into acting.
Yeah. Well, before then.
Oh, but before?
There's two notable things.
Okay.
Number one, this movie uses a lot of real-life quotes. A lot of the dialogue you see in this movie is one-for-one pieces of dialogue. Some of the most notable, Pea and Vinegar. That, like, when Verdi Lambert was, like, hired, Sweeney was like, I'm wanting someone with in vinegar in their veins.
Piss and
like,
vinegar.
That's, like, actually a thing he broadcast in the company. Is like, I'm wanting someone with vinegar in their veins. her response to that was like, thanks, I guess. Like, that's actually accurate. Like, a lot of the dialogue in this movie is very accurate. The other really big one, which I just touched on a second ago, was Hartnell's response to being shown Troughton, him going like, there's only one man in the country who can replace me. That's an actual verbatim quote that he said. This movie makes a lot of use of verbatim quotes. Like, a lot. I would say a good 30% of this movie is verbatim quotes.
Huh. Cool.
Like, it's actually really good, because the BBC, despite how bad they are keeping records, kept good records of this.
The only thing they did not do a good job at is preservation of episodes.
Yep.
That's a whole fun rabbit hole if you ever wanted to get into.
Yep.
They lost Doctor Who episodes.
Yeah, a lot of them, too. A lot of Patrick Troughton.
I'd say maybe a good 55% are missing. Which, they have animated a large amount of this
Yeah,
stuff
they're
back.
slowly going through and, like...
Actually, I don't know how much you know this, because this is on topic, I promise you. A large amount of old classic Doctor Who episodes, they are now being uploaded onto YouTube.
Yep.
For free.
Yep.
And that's how I've been able to watch a lot of them. And it's been fun, watching Patrick Troughton stuff.
Patrick Troughton's my favorite.
Yeah, it's my favorite too. I really love his interpretation of the character. Which, by the way, is there anything else you want to do for acting? Because the next part is technically about Troughton.
Yeah, so... The very last thing I wanted to say is that there is one very inaccurate scene that does bother me in the movie.
What is it?
Which is the creation of the set. Which is when she goes in and is like, I want you to make the set for all of this. It was a lot more of a complex process. They boiled it down a little too much, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Where she just goes in, sits down across from the set director, and is like, make me a set. And he goes like, alright, and then makes it in like 2 minutes. There's a lot more interesting things I wish they went into, but I understand why they didn't. It was a little out of scope for the movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest inaccuracy of the movie that does bother me, but everything else I'm perfectly fine with.
Okay. I'm mostly fine with the act, like the writing and whatnot.
Yeah.
Especially like the whole following of Patrick Troughton as a character in the movie. I really enjoyed
William
it.
Hartnell.
What? Oh, William Hartnell. Sorry, I'm too focused on Troughton for a second.
Yeah. It's perfect.
William Hartnell's whole character and stuff like that, the transition from it being about the producer to William Hartnell is just very fascinating, and it just keeps the movie grounded for me. It's like, okay, there was like 2 focuses and whatnot, but the main focus was on William Hartnell, and it's like, I really don't have much to say. I was like, I really enjoy it. I felt really, like, my heartstrings were really broken and tangled at the very ending.
Yeah. I love the ending for this, and I think this can go into acting a bit, if you're okay with it.
Yep.
The actor that plays Hartnell,
Oh, it's perfect.
he gets every slight mannerism down perfectly. Even, like, facial tweaks.
Yep.
Like, first off, like, he gets, like, body mannerisms. This type of man, walks around, talks like this, gesturing with the hat. Like, you can see this in every, like, interview and talk with him. He's a very, like, uptight, strict man, hence why he was always typecasted. Because that's just how he walked and talked.
He's a British man, what can you say?
Yeah, he's aggressively British.
Yep.
Like, army British aggressive.
Yep. All the other acting, besides one, is pretty much phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
everybody plays their part perfectly well. Only one was one that made my eyebrows snicker. And it's not like a massive negative. It just made my eyebrows snicker. The guy that plays Patrick Troughton.
Yeah.
Just the look, I was just like, I'm sorry. He gets the mannerisms a little bit right, but it's like, that look,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's just not it.
They did not hire a man who looked like Troughton, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He's way too young, but also Troughton has such a effing distinctive face.
Yeah.
It's already going to be hard enough to find
It's a
someone who looks
pudgy.
like him.
It's like a pudgier face.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the other one is more lanky.
Yeah.
I guess you could say.
Troughton's a very, like... It's the type of face that had a lot of weight and then lost a lot of it, and now it's just kind of, like, puffed up and wrinkled and saggy.
Yeah. Even though he was younger than William Hartnell, because he was, like, considered, like, a younger casting of the Doctor.
But they went too young with the casting.
Way too young. Way too young.
Because
like,
Troughton was young, right?
I would
but
say,
like, he was in his late 30s. Like,
I think Troughton was actually in his late 40s.
He might have been.
Because, like, he died in the 80s and around, his 60s or early 70s.
Sounds right.
But, the actor that they brought in looked like he was in his 30s.
Yeah, I was about to say late 20s. Like, he's so young.
Yeah.
Way too young.
I mean, he gets the mannerisms right.
Yeah.
I can't deny that, but it's just like... But he's only in there for, like... Not even a full minute of the movie.
I think literally 40
seconds.
seconds.
He only got like a couple of lines.
I think 2 lines.
Actually, no, I want to bring this up since we talked about Patrick Troughton. I actually just saw him in another movie recently that I didn't realize he was in. You ever seen The Omen?
I have not seen The Omen. I know of The Omen. I have not seen it.
Okay, he is in the movie.
Neat. Okay.
Yeah, so if you ever do see the movie, let me know, and I want to see if you actually notice which character he is.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, like, I was just rewatching some of the movies, and I was like, okay, Omen, let's see how this is. By the way, Omen is a good movie. It's interesting to watch if you're interested, from the 70s. Era of the Satanic Panic, if you're interested in that. And yeah, Patrick Troughton's in it. In just a random, like, cameo, it's like, great. Great cameo. Wonderful. Anyway.
But yes, absolutely stellar acting from the character playing William Hartnell.
Yes.
I would say, if this was like an actual theatrical movie, I hope he would have gotten an Oscar. He was so good.
I don't see him getting an Oscar because, the Oscars hate movies that are outside the United States.
That's true.
Very rarely do you see a foreign movie get an Oscar beyond Best Foreign Film. I mean, I think Parasite from 2019 swept the Oscars, which, amazing.
It's exceedingly rare to see something outside the U.S. win Oscars.
Yes.
With the exception of, every once in a while you'll see English movies do that. Well, hence why I was like, it could have.
Yeah.
Because it is English.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, with acting, all sound all around except for that one little snicker.
Yep.
Production.
Well produced.
Well done.
Yeah. A lot of what I have to say will fall within like the overlying between design and production. Because they go through pretty extraordinary effort to recreate some things. Because notably, you see the hall that they're walking through for like 2 scenes. They had to go through photographic evidence and recreate those hallways. Because the BBC had since destroyed all of them.
Of course they did. I mean, shoot, that wasn't the only thing they destroyed. You bastards.
Yeah.
Lost episodes.
So, those weird, like, effing pukey yellow, like, walls, that was the actual thing. They didn't bother to make it look good. They're like, oh, no, this is actually how it was.
Yep. I mean, it was the 50s going on to the 60s. What do you expect? I guess that's good enough for design. I'm actually impressed. Like, the first thing that really impressed me with design was in the beginning of the movie, was the design with the Cybermen.
Yes.
I was like, okay, cool, they got it right.
They got the actual, like, they did a great job designing the Cybermen, but in the background through the whole movie, if you're someone who loved watching original Hartnell like I did, you can tell what episode they're filming when, because you can see the background, like, extras putting on the costumes for that little set.
Yep.
My favorites being you see the weird black and white bee-men walking around, and it's like, yes, this is where they're on the weird ant moon, yes.
Yep. Oh, man. What was the other one that they were in? They were in that Chinese era room. I think that was the Marco Polo
That was
episode.
Marco Polo, yep.
Oh, man. It's so much fun. Like, this movie is perfect for a Doctor Who fan. Just, if you've seen Classic Who and you're like, oh, I recognize that. I saw that episode or seen this thing or whatever. But still, though, I loved how they got the Cyberman down. I was like,
Yep.
beautiful. In my opinion, that is my favorite design of the Cybermen in all of Doctor Who. Especially where you can see their eyes a little bit.
Yep.
God, that's so creepy.
Yep.
Anyway. Not much else to say about design in my part.
Yeah, the design is much more subtle, but I really love it. They
Like
went through
Easter.
really strong effort just to make things look how it was.
Yes. Would you recommend this movie to people?
So-
Now, yeah, this one's a toughie.
Because we spent a lot of time talking about the show, which, by the very nature, this is probably going to come up like a handful of times. There's a few movies about the making of other movies.
Mm-hmm.
Later down the list, we're going to talk about a movie about the creation of a video game. And we're going to spend a long time talking about the video game.
Yes.
So you have to ask the question of, how much can someone get from watching this product who's never seen the product?
In my opinion, I think if you've never seen Doctor Who, much less not much of a Doctor Who fan or anything,
Classic Who in particular.
Classic Who in particular, you probably could get something out of this.
I would agree, yeah.
Because especially like the whole story arc with Hartnell, because it's like a very classic thing of like wanting to be something what people expected from you. Because remember, Hartnell was a typecast actor before Doctor Who, and then
Heavily.
and then he became much more than anything he ever had been beforehand. And now today, when everybody sees a picture of William Hartnell in the Doctor Who costume, they're like, oh hey, or at least if you're familiar with Doctor Who in any capacity, they're like, that's the original Doctor.
That's
right
the
there.
first Doctor.
That's it.
He's not forgotten,
Yep.
which was his big work, because he was so worried about just becoming forgotten to history,
Literally-
just doing typecast roles.
Literally in his Wikipedia, one of the first sentences is that he's most well known as the first portrayal, being the first Doctor in the original Doctor Who run.
Yep.
So, I honestly might say yes, but maybe this is more of a decision of like, hey, if you're a fan of Doctor Who in general, this is a very good watch to
Yep.
like understand the origins of the show.
Yep. This is one of those as well. I feel so important if you watch Doctor Who that you should watch this, because BBC, the a-holes that they are after making this, had the brilliant idea to then begin running William Hartnell's name to the mud. Which is just, I feel like you should watch this movie because he was genuinely a good guy. Yes, he was argumentative and loud and opinionated and did not like people, but that doesn't make him a bad guy.
Yeah.
He should not be destroyed because he was not agreeable.
Whew. How would you rate this out of 10?
I love this movie. It's a 10.
I think it's an 8.
Fair enough.
I think it's a very fantastic watch. Very much gets everything that it needs to be right, and I don't think it needs to be anything than what it wants to be. Like it does not try to do so much, like
Yeah.
being pretentious, for example.
Yeah.
It doesn't insist upon itself, as one critic once said. Yeah, if you know that reference, good job.
This is a movie. I've seen it several times, and I still can get emotional watching it.
Yeah.
Which is to say a lot for a TV movie.
There's only one problem with this movie.
Oh, yeah?
There's only one big problem. Good luck finding a way to watch
Oh
it.
my god!
So okay, before we move on to Cabin in the Woods, let me just say to Bryce, I mentioned this to him a couple of weeks ago, because it was him and another friend of ours, they were talking to each other, and I was like,
Yep.
Bryce, I'm trying to find a way to watch an adventure in space and time.
Yep.
Looked it up on IMDb that tells me where movies are at. It doesn't say. It just tends me to Amazon and order a movie, like the DVD.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, yeah, you're going to have a hard time finding it.
Yep.
And then,
As per usual, with something made by the BBC, good luck watching it. Because BBC are a-holes. They don't want you to watch their stuff.
I think this movie was maybe only broadcasted maybe 3 or 4 times.
Probably, yeah.
Recently as 2023.
Yes.
And they made a change to it for the ending, which
Yep.
it's nothing major. It's
Yeah,
just-
it's metaphor. That's
yeah,
it.
Yeah. So I had to watch this through a website here. Not YouTube. Website here, if you know what I mean. That's the only way I could watch it. Other than having to purchasing it and waiting days on end for it to arrive and hoping to God it can actually work on my DVD player.
Yep.
So have fun, Doctor Who fans, if you want to watch this movie.
Is it really, like, the only downside I have to not recommending this people is I don't know where to send them.
I mean, if you want a link to a movie here, I guess shoot a comment if you're interested to whoever is watching, the 1.5 people watching. Anyway. Cabin in the Woods.
Yes.
Jumping from one movie to another, a completely, totally different movie.
Yep. Made it around the same time, though.
Yeah.
Very close.
Yeah, I think Cabin in the Woods came out in 2010 or 2011.
And the Adventure in Space and Time was like 2013, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Around that era.
Because Matt Smith was the Doctor at that time.
Yeah.
So, Cabin in the Woods. What do we really say about it as an introduction?
So, if you've watched any low-budget horror movie
from the 70s and the 80s.
Heck, in the last 50 years.
How about this? If you've seen a lot of slasher movies.
Yep.
Friday the 13th. Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm.
Even The Shining in some instances.
Particularly The Evil Dead.
Evil Dead is the biggest one.
The Evil Dead. The Evil Dead. Not Evil Dead 2 or Evil Dead series. The Evil Dead.
Yep. Cabin in the Woods is essentially a giant love letter / spoof / satire / everything else, comedy, whatever, and horror movie of the slasher genre of the last 50 some odd years.
Yep.
Mostly from the 70s and 80s, and especially for movies like Evil Dead.
So this is a movie following the very typical slasher plot,
Yep.
but not from the perspective of the victims, but from the perspective of the people that somehow are constantly making these.
Yes, so...
And it's creating like an in-world explanation as to why there's so many crappy horror movies, like low-budget indie horror films.
So for example, when you see in these movies and whatnot, the characters make stupid decisions like we need to split up, we need to... Shoot, what was the other one? Well, essentially, look, any dumb decision that's made in a horror movie, the people that are operating this whole scenario is basically telling you, okay, we gotta do this and this in order for X to happen.
Yep.
So, what is this movie even about?
So this movie follows a foundation, an organization that is some sort of like shadow organization of some sort.
Think the SCP Foundation.
Yeah, like SCP Foundation-esque. Think around that lines. That is running like this sort of underground human sacrifice thing.
Pretty much a death cult in a sense.
Yeah. That is like this worldwide thing. Ran across the world in every country.
Yep.
To try and find ways to lure people into a thing for them to encounter a monster and get killed.
Yes. It's like trying to fit the archetypes of these like slasher movies and stuff. Like even in Japan, for example, with their horror movies, they have tropes and they need to have them be followed in order to ensure that the end of the world ain't gonna happen.
Yep.
Which is essentially what this movie is. That's the plot of the movie, is to ensure that these ancient beings do not destroy the world, or else they will not get if they don't get their shitty slasher horror movie done to a T, we're going to destroy the world.
Yep. And it has to be the exact same way every time. Don't deviate from the formula. We want it this way every time. I see almost those eldritch gods that are written in the movie almost as if it was the like slasher fans. Because that's what they want. Yes. They want the same movie every time. Just replace the monster. That's it. They want the same characters. They want the same places. They want the same plot hooks. They want the same deaths.
Like our character archetypes that we're working with, you have the whore, the jock, the scholar, the fool, and the virgin.
Yep.
You have our 5 main archetypes of horror movie characters that are going to be killed off one by one, except for the one at the end, which would normally be the virgin.
The female lead that didn't sleep with anyone, that now survives everything.
The comic relief is killed off.
Yep.
The whore always dies first.
After showing her boobs.
Yeah,
like,
after showing her boobs. I guess it's a good segue for writing.
Yep.
I love how much it plays with the tropes of these slasher movies. Like, literally, you'll get a whole lot out of this movie if you know the main tropes of slasher movies, of these. Like, I use slasher movies like this, but you can change that to being, like, horror movies in general.
Yep. That's why I keep saying indie horror.
Yeah, indie horror. Or, like, those low-budget horror movies from back in the day.
Yep.
There's, like, you get so much out of this once you recognize all the little random tidbits of, like, trivia in there. It's just a lot of fun. And I love how much it likes to poke at itself, especially the scene where everybody is betting on which monster is going to be it this year. Is it going to be the werewolf, or is it going to be the mass killer? My favorite one is the joke where it's the zombies.
Yep.
There's two separate categories for zombies.
Redneck zombie family and zombies.
Yep. You see, they're completely different, in case you don't know.
It's like an elephant and an elephant whale.
Yep.
Elephant seal, that's what it was. An elephant and an elephant seal.
Yes, that's right. I love just how much it plays around with the tropes and all that stuff. It's so much fun.
Yeah. It is a surprisingly smart movie about this kind of stuff, being a absolute love letter to that. If you're someone who's a big fan of slasher movies, there's going to be so many references you get in this movie. Because they jam-pack so many different small ones in there.
Yeah, this is a movie written by Joss Whedon.
Makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, if you know anything about Joss Whedon, he's like well known for, he got his fame from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Avengers. He loves playing around with characters to a T.
Yep.
And yeah, he definitely has a massive, not really a bone to pick, but he's like, I love these old movies from when I was growing up, so let me make my own and just play with the concept.
Yeah. It is very unique, and it's very interesting in that.
Now, with the writing, though, you want to mention the ending of this movie, or do we not want to spoil it? Because, like, any time whenever I've talked about this movie with some people, the first time I ever watched it, I didn't even get to watch it all the way through, because my family did not like this movie.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they thought it was dumb. Meanwhile, I was the only one thinking, I'm enjoying myself. This is funny.
Yeah.
Mostly because I think, like, they didn't watch as many slasher movies as I have when I was at that age. So I knew the references that they were making and stuff. And then when we did finally all finish it, they didn't like the ending.
So yeah, the ending of the movie is interesting.
Yes.
I never know how to feel about the ending of this movie, to be honest.
Personally, I kind of like the ending because of how much of an FU it is.
Yeah.
I respect them for going that far into it.
Yeah.
But then, like, the ending feels unfulfilling. Because, you know, with horror movies, it's the trope of, like, hey, somebody survives or the killer is vanquished somehow. Cabin in the Woods does not do that. The world basically ends.
Yeah.
Which, I don't mind. I thought that was funny. But that just subverts the trope.
Yeah.
At least in my eyes. But that's just me. I don't know how everybody else is going to feel about that.
So the reason why I always have mixed feelings about it is it makes the character of Marty very unlikable. Because you're watching it and you're like, it's the goofball, he's playing into all this, and it's like, okay, we're actually treating what he's saying very seriously, in which case he's actually just an a-hole. He's actually just not a good person. And the movie is portraying him as, like, this grand hero.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why I always feel so mixed about it. And then, like, the main girl character sides with him for no good reason. So it's just kind of like, it feels like an FU for no good reason outside of the meta.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why I'm always so mixed about it. It's like, it's an interesting ending. It's very unique, but it feels undeserved.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, like, the actual rating that people, like, the average rating on IMDb is. It's always hovered around, like, a 7.
Yeah.
So I think, like, the main thing is, like, the ending is where people are very divided on.
Yeah, the ending is
very much a dividing factor. I personally love it, but I do understand why people don't like it. Let's see, acting. Chris Evans is in this movie.
Yeah.
And He's got the funniest death in all of the movie.
Right, yeah, I would say so, yeah.
In my opinion. In case if you were interested, I guess, like, I mean, everybody dies, so what's the point? Actually, I'd rather let people see it for themselves, because it's like such an anticlimactic death.
I would say he's the second funniest death.
Which one's the funniest?
Mermaid.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, son of a... Oh, yeah. But yeah, the acting, everybody's pretty good. Like, there's no bad performances, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, everyone plays their part. Because of the nature of this movie, there's not a lot of room to, like, show your chops.
Yeah.
You're supposed to play your type.
Mm-hmm.
So...
I mean, literally, this whole movie is playing around with archetypes, so...
Yeah. So, because there's not a lot of room to really show yourself, but they do get occasionally some, like, moments where they get to be like, yeah, like... mostly whenever they break the type and they're like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
Like with Chris Evans being like, okay, we need to stick together, and like he's actually playing very smart. They're like, crap, like, make him dumb.
Make him stupid. You know what? Maybe we should just split up. And everybody was like, yeah, good idea.
Except Marty's here. It's like, what the F?
Yeah, Marty is like, what? Oh, man. Production.
This is a very well produced movie, I'd say.
Yeah. Very well, competently well made. Nothing looks beyond stupid, like the CGI or anything. Or not very much CGI as you think until the very end.
I love the smaller references within the movie. Because we talked about, like, there's a lot to gain from if you're someone who's a big slasher fan. There's a lot of references to get. There's a lot of monsters you see in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly in the backgrounds, just like in passing, that a keen-eyed viewer that is a slasher fan, which I know is in the minority, will be able to spot some references to some particularly notable ones that they might have seen, or even some ones that are very not notable
Yep.
for those that are very into it.
Yep. Ooh. Let's see, design.
I like the design of this movie, but
I love the design of the monsters because at least, like, you know what they're referencing, but of course they can't have the actual monsters that they're referencing in it.
yeah, of course the whole movie, for at least the first half, is set in the cabin.
Yeah.
Like the cabin, it's the Evil Dead cabin. It's been used in a few other movies. It's that cabin. You've seen it a few times.
Yep. I love the design of all the various monsters, though.
Yes.
Overall, though. I think the mermaid one is very funny to me. He just comes crawling out and is like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be a horror movie, so it's supposed to look horrifying.
Yep.
What is that one eldritch monster that he grabs a security guard and pulls him into his chamber and just starts ripping him apart?
Ah, yes.
I think it's the tree one.
Probably.
Yeah. Would you recommend this movie to people, Bryce?
I would say generally, yeah.
Yeah, I would. I would definitely highly recommend it to people that are, say, like me and you, I guess, that have seen a large amount of slasher movies and stuff, especially those really bad ones from the 70s and 80s. But as a general, like, audience member, yeah, I think you would like it, but I just think you're going to be divided on the ending.
Yeah, the ending, if you can get past the ending, you're either going to like it or you're going to hate it.
Yeah. What would you rate it out of 10?
This is a 10. This is one of those that regularly dips on and off my top 50. They just didn't make my top 50 this year, but next year it might. Mm-hmm. There's no telling. It really depends.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing for me. I love this movie a lot. It just makes me sad whenever I look at it and it's like, dang, I really seem sad that the movie is very divisive.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. It's my type of thing.
I have a problem with the ending, but I still give it a 10.
Yep.
Because I can get past it. It's literally like a 2-second thing in the movie.
Alright. Well, everybody, thank you all so much for watching. Let's see, to the 1.5 person in Potato Salad that is still listening, you are in charge of watching Knives Out and The Apartment. Thank you all so much for watching. I guess I need to find a new co-host.